I don't know if we thought we'd be discussing that at this point when we started the series, but Tony Parker goes down with an injury. Tim Duncan obviously has not been there all year, and now Kawhi. Manu, we may say goodbye to for the last time tonight. Remains to be seen, but that's an end of an era if you think about it. And there's so much more. There's so much more, I think, ahead for the Spurs, especially for some of the young talent we got to see get thrown into fire a little earlier than expected. I thought they at least competed, but they weren't going to be a match for this Golden State Warrior team.
You know, Bones, obviously friendly with Manu. You played with him. You're sitting there and watching. Great moment, well-deserved, and as was mentioned in the broadcast, definitely going to end up in the Hall of Fame someday. Your thoughts as you watch what could be his final game of his career?
Well, I say this without apology. I love Manu. He's one of the favorite guys that I ever had a chance to suit up with. He's one of the most genuine people, not just players. You hear the way he deals with the media. You should be on an airplane with him when he's dropping pickles in your glasses. He's always joking around. He's never lost kind of that childish behavior. That sort of drove Pop nuts for a long time. But it's something that Manu never lost. The fact that so many Argentinians came in, as the broadcast was mentioning, Doris Burke had mentioned so many people had come in to see him during potentially his last year. And I think it is. I think it is going to be his last year. He was so close to doing it last year. The Spurs signed him to one more year where he wanted to come in and have a smell the roses type of season, which he absolutely did. There's a bar of excellence that Manu had set for himself, and I know throughout the course of the regular season he was extremely frustrated. Even in the playoffs, he started the first 4 games against Memphis. He didn't score, then ended up with 2 brilliant Game 5s, just pitching in 10 points against Memphis, and then I think 12 or 15 against Houston that lit a fire. And then a couple magical moments here in the Western Conference Finals. But one of my favorite people, a friend for life, and an absolute Hall of Famer.
Rick, it's tough to think about or not to think about what we might have missed out on without Kawhi in this series. And I think all three of us believe the Warriors were going to win this series, but you got robbed of a little bit of competition. To Bones' point earlier, just because they would have won Game 1, and they probably would have, doesn't mean they don't lose the next 4, circa the Sixers series against you after you started 11-0. But we did miss out on that battle, and it became a series that we knew would be inevitably towards Golden State.
Yeah, no, I think we were all looking forward to at least some level of competition, and we didn't get it. It's not to say the Spurs did not, represent themselves accordingly by suiting up, showing up, and playing the game is hard in the right way. But, yeah, this Golden State Warrior team has been special now for not just this season, but a number of years going back now. This is their 3rd time to the finals. They added an MVP player in Kevin Durant. So after a 73-win season, I mean, could you get better? It appears that they have. But we were hoping, as you said, we were hoping that this would be at least a test of 6 games and maybe even 7 that we got a chance to see these two battle because they've had great regular seasons now for 2 years in a row. And it's unfortunate that it ends this way.
Let's take a look at how it went down. Game 4, would it be a sweep? Yet the 3rd of this postseason for Golden State. Kawhi, as we mentioned, out. 2nd straight game with the ankle. Manu Ginobili starting for the first time all season long. But early, Bones, it was all about Steph Curry getting it done. First the spin, the drive, and a tough lay-in. But he was only getting started 13, Brent, in the quarter.
Well, he was getting into the middle of the lane, and there was just no resistance. You got to think down 3-0. The first thing you want to do is establish some kind of physical presence. Don't make the early shots easy, but for Golden State, they absolutely were, to the tune of 31 points in the first quarter.
Kevin Durant also playing well. Rick, we talked about in pregame the impact he's already had. We saw this in the first quarter, inside with the jumper, many different ways he was scoring. And early in the first half, really the 2 best players for the Warriors taking over.
Yeah, it's been the case throughout these playoffs that Kevin Durant seems to be having his way on the offensive end. And I don't know who's going to contest him when he's also playing this end of the floor. I mean, he didn't block it once, he blocked it twice. Right, left, just to be sure.
18 at the half for Durant, 65-51. More the same in the second. Ball movement sets up the 3 for Durant. It's good. He had 29 and 12. The lead is 20. Then it was more Steph with 36 in the game. Off the dribble, he makes the 3. Pop looking on, not much he can do. to try and defend this ball.
Forbes learning a lesson there about trying for the steal. You had to recover because you're out of position. And recovering the Steph Curry, you better do it lightning quick or else it counts for 3.
Could be his last game, as we talked about. Manu going down firing, drive in for the layup. Had 3 really good games in this series. Stepped up, probably was the best player on their team going back to game 2. Here's another layup, and then with his shot was working too. At 15 and 7 off the dish from Patty Mills. The 3 here to cut the lead to 14. But the Warriors closing the door. Again, Rick, too many options. Here's Steph.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of this going forward. Wide open. He does not need a hand in the face. He still makes that shot. Great ball movement, great unselfish play. And here we see Manu potentially maybe for the last time.
Comes out to a standing ovation. Will he continue to play, or perhaps maybe put the sandals on, get in the sand out on the beach and hang out the rest of his time after what's a Hall of Fame career? Great class shown not only, of course, by the crowd, which you'd expect, but bones by the Warrior players as well. Steph even at the free throw line giving an ovation.
Yeah, I love that, and I love Pop asking him if he wanted to go back into the game, and Manu saying, no, I'm good. A brilliant, brilliant career if, in fact, Manu calls it a day, and a legendary Spur. And I will tell you this, Casey, he is the most loved Spur. I mean, Tim was a guy that the San Antonio community never really connected with. They always thought he was out of touch. Manu Ginobili was the guy that they got to and they clung to, and I'm going to tell you, if he does retire, it's a big, big blow, an emotional one for a lot of what San Antonio Spurs fans think is represented as number 20.
On the other side, Kevin Durant came over. We wondered what would the impact be. Fantastic in this game with 29 and throughout the postseason to this point. Here he is after the win with Doris Burke.
In this series, you and Steph Curry proved too difficult to tandem over the 82 games and now these 12 in the playoffs. What have you and he specifically figured out? No, I'm going to let this play, and I'll give you a chance as Manu goes off the floor, Kevin, and you're smiling as you hear this crowd acknowledge what may be Manu's last game. Your thoughts as perhaps this is the end for him.
Somebody I grew up watching, amazing competitor. Even more fun playing against him. You know, I got nothing but love and respect for him. And he wears my shoes every year too, so that's a plus. But he was phenomenal this series. You know, we all got nothing but respect for him.
Back to my original question, which was, this is a team that requires everybody to win. But in this series, you and Steph were impossible as a tandem. Over the season and through these playoffs, what have you two specifically figured out?
We just we get used to playing with each other even more. I mean, when I got hurt and went down for 20 games, that kind of messed up the flow. But now that we got the playoffs going and we won a few games, our chemistry is getting better and better. So we're gonna need it even more next series, man. Whoever we play, and we're just looking forward to it. I'm glad we got this done.
You will go back to the finals for the second time in your career, of course, falling short in your first trip. From your memory, what are you most looking forward to?
Just the atmosphere. It's great to be one of the last 2 teams standing, and we'll see what happens, man. I'm just excited I'm a part of it, and let's see what happens.
We live in an age where there's no shortage of opinion, and you experienced your share as it relates to joining this team. Yeah. How did you quiet all of that, get yourself incorporated, and figure out what you needed to do?
Well, I just work on my game every single day, keep it at basketball, and just enjoy every single moment, and that stuff comes with the game. So just go out there and play my game and have fun. That's all I've been preaching to myself this year.
You had to go through an organization with championship history and maybe the greatest coach. You shared a moment with Pop. Can you share with us?
Well, he just told me congrats and, good luck next round. And, it's always a joy playing against Pop. He makes you think. He makes you better. He makes everybody on the floor better. You're seeing how they finished this game tonight. It was a 100% effort. So, I got nothing but respect for this organization.